Pastor Kegabine, would you lead us in prayer?
Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you today for the opportunity to gather, Lord. We thank you for a new day, new opportunities, new beginnings, Lord, for our city. Lord, as the school year begins here in a couple of weeks, we pray a blessing over our schools, our students, our teachers, all the faculty, Lord. We ask your blessings tonight upon this meeting as our city officials come together to discuss business that will better our future for our city. So, Lord, we ask a blessing upon this great city, that you continue to widen territories and bring blessings and provisions to this city, Lord. Lord, we pray for a spirit of unity. Lord, we thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us and that you continue to give to us. So, Lord, we thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Nina, would you please call the roll?
Councilperson Alvarez?
Here.
Councilperson Podgorski?
Here.
Councilperson Geisers?
Here.
Councilperson Clem? Councilperson Williams?
Here.
Councilperson Gully?
Here.
Councilperson Zilli?
Here.
I would like the approval of the minutes for the July 5th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We have communications, correspondence, and announcements from the mayor. We have some awards to give out. Norma, would you come up, please? Tonight, we're going to be recognizing our reserve officers, police department. I don't know if you know all of them. I believe there's 9 of them, but they're so helpful to us in everything that we do. Parades, any events that we have throughout the city. These are non-paid employees who volunteer and give their time and do an amazing job for us. So we're going to be giving them a certificate tonight, and Norma's going to be reading them off.
All right, well, I understand there's 2 of our reserves here. So we're going to present you with a certificate. If you'd like to come on up, Bob Anderson, Sergeant Bob. And Officer Kevin Stewart. There's that. You're welcome. And you read this. Go ahead. All right. The certificate says, Certificate of Recognition. The following award is given to Sergeant Bob Anderson and Officer Kevin Stewart. This certificate is given to their names in appreciation of their invaluable service and contribution to the Portage Police Reserve Unit. Your dedication, hard work, and generosity have made a significant impact within our community, and we are grateful for your support. Dated today, August 1st, 2023, signed by Mayor Sue Lynch.
So, can we get a picture with our reserve officers with the council, please?
Just an update. July 1st was the parade and fireworks, and this year we had 8 officers of our own plus full-time working the parade. Fireworks, we had 5 of our guys plus full-time, along with Chief and Captain Monks really helped us out that evening. All total, just for that one day, we put in close to 200 hours, man-hours, combined with all our officers, and also with the planning meetings we've had ahead of time. So we took about 200 hours just for the 4th of July event itself. So just kind of give you an idea of what we do year-long. We easily hit 1,000 hours every year in man-hours combined of our officers coming out and doing regular patrol. So again, thank you for the city supporting us. We want to thank the chief and all the admins of the department who always have our backs.
Can you state how many years you've been volunteering with the city?
I've been doing this a little over 20 years myself.
Thank you.
Kevin is about a year now. Over a year. Kevin has just got released tonight. He finally got his FTO done, so he will start his solo by next week.
Congratulations, and thank you.
In general, most of our officers have anywhere from 15 to 20 years on, like I say, with our newest 1 year. So, okay?
So if you guys can
Oh.
Picture with you.
Oh, pictures.
Absolutely.
Get in there, Gina.
Now, the chief has an award to present.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Before I do that, I just want to, again, thank our reserves. I know I've talked about them frequently, and again, it takes a lot to have somebody volunteer their time for the type of work that we do. You know, most people don't recognize the difference between a reserve and a full-time officer, so sometimes they get the same stuff that we get, you know. Sometimes it's not always a perfect, thankful job. So to be doing that for free really says something about people. And this just shows, you know, the kind of lifestyle that they lead, that we only had 2 of them available tonight because we did extend this out to everybody, but they have regular jobs. So, you know, most of them are out working other jobs. I believe they came from our national night out, which we're having down the road. So they're always out there helping us out. It's a great program. It's interesting, Bob said he's been doing it for 20 years. I think Bob and I came on the reserves at the same time. So, little known fact, I was a reserve before I got this job. So about 20 and a half years ago, I was a reserve. So, again, great program, and I really appreciate you all for honoring them, because they really do a lot for the city. So thanks again, guys. So I do have an award I'd like to give out. If I could have Lieutenant Chris Birch join me up here. So on June 5th, 2023, Lieutenant Chris Birch encountered a male subject, Duncan Foster, suffering from cardiac arrest at the Portage Cal Ripken Fields. Coincidentally, Lieutenant Birch was off duty but had arrived for baseball-related activities. Lieutenant Birch immediately contacted Porter County Dispatch and began CPR. Lieutenant Birch continued administering life-saving measures until the Portage Fire Department arrived and took over. On June 15th, Mr. Foster was released from the hospital and returned home. There was no doubt Lieutenant Birch was instrumental in saving Mr. Foster's life. I had presented this nomination to the 2023 Awards Committee for our police department, and we all unanimously agree that Lieutenant Birch is deserving of the Portage Police Department Life-Saving Award. Duncan's unable to make it with us today. He had some procedures to continue his road to recovery. I did speak with his wife, who's present, said he's doing well. Just really happy to be able to hand out this award. So it just shows, you know, what this job entails. We have a wonderful fire department that generally gets there and can take over the life-saving measures. But with our officers being out and mobile, having the squad cars, a lot of times we arrive on scene first. So here's an officer who was not working, happened to be in the right time, right place at the right time, had the skills needed, and did what he needed to do when he wasn't even working. So it's a credit to Lieutenant Birch. It's a credit to all the officers that do this job on our police department. And so really happy to be able to give him this award today. I know his family's here. Former Chief Cliff Birch is here, his father to be with him, his family, kids. So I'm getting long-winded, but I'm just really happy to be able to give this to him. So I'll stop talking and let you guys thank Chris. So, congrats.
Okay, we have the clerk treasurer's report.
I don't really have a whole lot. We're starting to get into the 2024 budget season. We're still waiting for estimated revenues to be released, and the department heads they've been, as of yesterday, they got their templates to start working on. That's all.
Okay, I have reports of the standing committees.
Yes, Mayor, the Budget Committee did meet on July 17th. This is our second meeting of the year. On the agenda were several topics. We discussed the ARPA funds, yes, the longevity, the equipment bond, and most of the time was spent on the 2024 budget. So as Nina indicated, the department heads have received their budget templates with historic data that she prepared. Thank you, Nina. So the Budget Committee is going to start scheduling meetings with the department heads on August 15th, and we hope to conclude those meetings by August 31st. So that will keep us in line and on time to meet our deadlines to get our final budget presented to the council for approval.
Ordinance Committee meeting met earlier today at 5, as we do before every council meeting. Continue to look at our solicitor's ordinance and scavenger's ordinance. We also looked at an event ordinance concerning block parties in the city, and also a issue of disfiring weapons in the city brought to us by Chief Candiano.
Thank you, guys. We have reports of city officials. I'm going to start with Chief Candiano because I think he wants to get back over to the Founders Square for the police night out. Okay. We'll just go ahead with Chief Wilkening right now.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So we were a little bit busier this month, or in July, than we were in June. We had a total of 497 total calls, 331 were EMS, and I'm happy to report that the 4th of July, and we ended up with no structure fires in the month of July. So we had a few minor fires, decks, things like that, but no real house fires. So that's a good job for both the citizens and our department, because they do a really good job of getting out there, doing fire prevention, and just trying to pass the word of fire safety. We did have 3 mutual aid calls come into the city. So that gives our total for the year is 3,196 total calls, 2,291 ambulance calls, and 17 fires. We also had 49 mutual aid calls coming into the city so far this year.
Randy, do you have the number of mutual aid calls from previous years?
Yes. I was going to save that to the end, but I can.
Okay. I'll let you save it till the end.
I'll save it for the end. We also have been kept real busy with our water rescue calls. Fortunately, most of them have had really good endings that were either just people lost on the beach and things like that. So I do want to reiterate that we try to do this all the time, but we want to make sure that people listen even in knee-high water, waist-high water, once the waves hit you, it will suck you right back out, and that's where we get most of our casualties. So whenever there's big waves in that lake, even wading can be dangerous, and people have been swept out. So we want to remind everyone that when there is big waves and the beaches, they recommend the beach warnings, that you listen to it and don't even go in the water. As far as personnel go, we did finish our new hiring list with the merit board last night. I'm happy to say that we did have some decent candidates, and we've had quite a few. So Chief DeYoung made calls today, and we did have 5 people accept to fill our 5 vacancies. So we will be processing them over the next month, and we hope to have them hired by the middle of September, and they'll go straight into the fire academy. So we're looking forward to that. As far as Firefighters off. Fortunately, we only have one firefighter that's still on workman's comp. Everybody else is at work, so that's always good news. As far as grants go, we haven't heard anything yet over our federal grant. However, they have started awarding grants, and we have not been told we've gotten it, but we haven't gotten told that we were out of it. So right now, no news is good news. As far as training goes, again, we continue to train every week, so that never stops all year long. But we did have some really good training with the high school athletic trainers. We try to get them in every year. They show us their equipment, the special features that they have, that they can take apart the equipment, and we can get access to the patients and how we work together and what they're going to do for the patient, what we're going to do for the patient, and try to have a good working relationship. So if an unfortunate incident does happen out on the football field, we're ready to take care of it along with the athletic trainers and work together instead of not knowing what each other's doing. We still continue to have the nurses from Northwest Health ride with us, so that's been a really good program, and it really helps with relations with the hospitals and getting to know each other. We're also always continuing to teach CPR, stop the bleed, first aid, and though we don't have any more school tours, we have Cub Scouts and things like that, so they love coming by and seeing us. So it's always fun for the firefighters to get with the kids. And then we are sending 4 firefighters to paramedic school this fall, so in the next month they'll be going, and then hopefully in January we'll have another set of 4 that'll go to paramedic school. So we're getting everybody up to par where we need to be. We really didn't do a whole lot with as far as extracurricular community involvement for July. It's kind of hard with the 4th of July festivities and everybody's busy and vacations and stuff. So, and then usually July is one of our busier months, so we try to keep it as open as possible. But I would like to end with I'd like to thank all the firefighters that are on the department because we have been short 5 firefighters for a while. They have done an excellent job of stepping up to answer your question, Colin. We, as I said, we had 49 mutual aid calls. We had to have an ambulance come in to help us 49 times this year. Last year, we had 180. So that is a huge difference, and that's being able to take care of the citizens of Portage. And I think a main reason is for these guys, those guys and gals, they all step up and to take the extra shifts and help each other out and make sure the citizens of Portage are covered. So kudos to them. And unless you have any questions, that's all I have, because I figured I'd be real quick so Chief Candiano can ramble on a while longer. That it? That's it. All right.
Thanks, Randy. And thank you, guys. Chief Candiano, okay, here's your chance.
All right, I'm back. First, I want to say, again, congrats, Chris, and I'll tell you that if I was the kids, I probably wouldn't want to sit through this exciting meeting. So nobody will be upset if you guys sneak out while we ramble on. So again, thank you for what you did, and if I turn around and you're gone, nobody's going to be upset. So first off, it is National Night Out. We do have a pretty decent display going on over at Founders Square Park. We're there till 8 o'clock. If you're watching this video now, go check it out. It'll still be on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. You can watch it later. So we're down there. The fire department's down there. I believe we have representatives from the railroad, Substance Abuse Council. We got multiple people down there. We got hot dogs, things to drink. So if anybody can make it down, we're out there. You can come hang out with us. So that is why I'm dressed more down today. I don't generally wear jeans and a shirt to the council meeting, so I do apologize for handing out an award like that today, but a lot going on. So I will keep it brief since I've already been up here twice. Our incidents for July, our total incidents for July were 3,426. That puts us at an average of 111 a day, same as last month, so pretty consistent. We're sitting at 21,878 for the year. So, same as fire department, still dealing with hiring, staffing issues. We currently have 5 officers at the academy, so excited about that. It's the double, it's the good and the bad because they're getting their training now, but some of them were already released and working the road, so it's actually, unfortunately, since they've had to go to the academy, it's shortened us on the road, but they're getting their training and they'll be back to us and then ready to go. So the good side is that when they come back, they'll roll right back into patrol, so we won't have to worry about that. But we are going to be a little bit short right now. We also have 1 officer in the field training program. He does have experience at another police department. It's one of the first lateral, I think it's the first lateral that we've had since y'all helped us make those changes. So assuming that will be a quick transition through our training just to figure out how we do things over here, and then he should be out on the road. So a little bit of optimism there. That does leave us 6 short. We are going through a hiring process again. I believe we have testing this Saturday, and we'll see where that goes. So I expect that we'll start a hiring process right again after that because we've got those openings coming up at the end of the year. So again, we're taking apps year-round. We've changed that. Instead of taking them only when we're hiring, we're taking apps year-round. If you know anybody who's interested in doing law enforcement, have them come in, take an app, and if they can't get on this process, we'll call them when the time comes for the next one. So, the last thing I wanted to say, just in addition to the other good things we've talked about today, just wanted to comment on a incident that our officers handled last week. We had a bank robbery at Horizon. I believe it was in the paper. So happy with how this worked out. The teamwork on the department was just amazing. Complete joint effort between our patrol division, the detective bureau. I'm going to say even our admin was out there. Give my admin team a little kudos. We were out there. We had this suspect identified within 4 hours. Now, we did not put that out there to the public because for obvious reasons, but we knew who this person was within 4 hours, and they were in custody less than 48 hours later. We had some assistance from the Hammond Police Department for tracking him down, but we used a little bit of everything. Just good old-fashioned police work, technology, flock cameras, social media. I mean, it was an all-around group effort of how this came together, but again, I'm pretty impressed with having a bank robbery solved in 4 hours. Now, don't hold us to that. They don't always go that fast, but just a great job by the department all around, and I'm just, very proud to be a part of this. So, example of just the exemplary work they do on a daily basis, but this is, a bank robbery is kind of a higher profile case, so I just kind of wanted to comment on that. So that is all I got, unless you guys have any questions.
Mike, why don't you want to get back to the night out?
You know what, I will stick around for
Are you sure? 'Cause
Yeah, I'm okay.
If you want, you can go into if you want to do it now, you can.
It's up to you guys. I've got enough people over there. You tell me what you want me to do.
Why don't you go ahead and explain the social worker while
Okay.
you're up there?
All right. So I think the plan was for you guys to discuss the social worker position that we've been talking about later on, but I think I've talked to you guys a couple times about this. So I had sent over some paperwork a couple months ago. Did you guys get a chance to? Okay. So I won't hit all this, but I'll just hit the highlights. What we're proposing is adding a police social worker to the Portage Police Department. So there's currently, that I know of, 3 police social workers in Lake and Porter County. That's it. Porter County Sheriff's Department, Valparaiso Police Department, and then the Griffith Police Department shares one with, I believe, the Griffith Schools or, some combination out there. So we've been doing some research on this, and after speaking with the representatives of the departments, it's just absolutely clear how important this role is, this position is to have in our communities. It's just a game-changing thing, I think, for police departments and our interaction with the community. So I attached a police worker social, start over. I've attached a police social worker job requirement document, which I think you guys can review if you haven't. Kind of lists what we're looking for in this person. But the idea is that we're encountering all kinds of people in need on a daily basis. Homelessness, mental health, poverty, domestic violence victims, substance abuse, I can go on and on. And there's all kinds of organizations and resources out in the area to help these individuals. I know there's, where'd he go? we've heard from some other people that are trying to do work in the community here. The problem is there isn't that linkage, there isn't that follow-up. So as I said, we're running to 111 calls a day. So we may encounter somebody that's in need. We're fixing the problem in that specific moment. We can't afford to do I would love to, but we can't do the follow-up right now. We can't check back in on them because we're running to 111 calls the next day. And officers change, with the shifts. Now, an officer might try to check up on them, but that's not serving the community the way we should. So what happens is then we encounter them the next time they call us, and we just start it all over again. And again, it's not necessarily because there aren't resources out there, it's just, it's so hard to link them together. So, all our officers are driving around in cars with packs of cards and different things because we go to, and hey, if you run into this, and it's just so hard to have that conversation when somebody's in crisis. It's hard to have that conversation and remember which card goes with which person. And so this is that link. So basically what would happen is we encounter somebody, we would come back, we would get that information to the social worker. They could then do the follow-up. Would they be giving them services directly? Maybe. Or would they be linking them with somebody that is able to give them the services? I was talking to the social worker at the time that was out in Valpo, and she was telling me that they were handling somewhere between, don't quote me exactly because this is off of memory, but I want to say she said like 150 referrals a month. So if you take that, if you just want to look at just the fact of, let's take for granted that we're helping people and that's what we really want to do. Let's take the next step and say, what does this do? How's this impacting our police department? If you figure these 150 families are maybe sometimes we're getting called to them 2, 3, 4 times a month. And that's not exaggerating. We see some families 10 times a month or more. Do the numbers. That's hundreds and hundreds of police calls that could be diverted to other things. And that end, hopefully, in somebody getting the help they need rather than solving the problem in a minute. Because a lot of times, again, our resources are take them to the hospital, leave them as they are, try to get them a quick fix, or if it's something that's a crime's been committed, they get arrested. Are those the 3 best things that we should be doing? Not necessarily, but those are the tools that we have right now. So I'm very passionate about this. Like I said, there's a lot of information in the document that I sent to you. Hopefully you can read through that. I talked to some of the other departments that have them. The salary that I'm recommending and the benefits I think are in line. I think that, again, the amount of things that this will do for the community and the amount of helping out the police department, the call volume and things like that, I just think that it's definitely worth that dollar amount. I know we've discussed, maybe this isn't in my lane, but I know we've discussed some of the opioid funds. I believe that it fits. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm proposing. So if we get the go-ahead on this at some point, we're ready to start posting the job. We've reached out to some of the other social workers in the area. I think they will help us along with the search because I believe that takes a special person to do this job, just like it takes a special person to do any type of emergency services. So we want to make sure we get somebody that, fits this. So that was a lot. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Mike. I think we'll address this at the.
Do you want me to stick around for?
Salary ordinance amendment? Okay.
Do you want me to stick around for that, or?
No, I think it's okay for you to go back to the park, don't you guys? I think so.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
2 minutes away. If you got a question, call me and I'll
Okay.
drive the speed limit back here.
Very
All right,
good,
thank
Mike.
you all, appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, Superintendent Reader, do you want to do the streets and sands report?
Well, we don't catch robbers or perform CPR and everything, but I do appreciate everything that the police and the fire do for our city, and whatever this council could do for them, please do. So we need them. So we did fill some potholes. We did kill some mosquitoes. We did take some weeds down, picked up some limbs, cut up some trees. So Yeah, that's good stuff there. So I want to remind everyone about our compost site. It's going to be closed August 9th, which is a Wednesday. They're doing some major utility relocation on US 12. So right now, I did send you a picture of what's going on up there. We got a huge grinder, and that is a monster. And right now, they're taking care of all the limbs and the brush that we've collected throughout the year, which are thousands of cubic yards, and they're turning that into mulch. So we're not going to keep all that mulch. We're going to haul a lot of it away, and then we're going to keep a few, probably about 1,000 cubic yards for the public to get. So anyways, that's what's happening up there. I also want to just remind the council some of the numbers that I sent. At the beginning of this year, we got a couple of years ago, we got a Volkswagen litigation grant for CNG equipment, and that was about $550,000, and that allowed us and helped us to purchase 7 of our CNG trucks down there. And CNG is compressed natural gas. It's the same gas that you use right on the stove, dry your clothes with, take hot showers with. So that's what powering these 7 vehicles. Of that 7 vehicles, it's 2 automation trucks, 2 grapple trucks, 2 rear loaders, and 1 mini single axle rear loader. And we are just having a fantastic time with that new equipment. It's so quiet, clean, and the employees really enjoy that. Along that, the city did get approved for a NOFA grant, and that was about $4.559 million for the rest of our equipment, and also for our CNG station that's going to go down there at the department. So right now, in the very beginning of the year, we're looking at about $1.4 million we want to spend on a few segments of the new equipment coming in. So I'll be approaching the Board of Works on about 4 pieces of equipment for 2004, but we have until 2028 to spend these funds. So that's really good. That's going to be the end of my report, unless anyone's got any questions.
Randy, I have a question. With the CNG, will residents in our city that have CNG vehicles be able to fuel up at our station once we get it set up?
That's going to be a private station just with the city, so we have no, it's not going to be like a pay at the pump, like a gas station would. So that is not going to be accessible to public. So.
Randy, just to reiterate, part of the reason that we switched to that was the cost savings on fuel alone. Are we at about half the cost?
Yeah, right now, a gallon equivalent of CNG to diesel. How much is diesel? I haven't looked at the price yet. Yeah, so right now we're paying about $3, right? And there is a 50-cent per mile rebate at the end of the year. So what I got to do is certify all the mileage on the 7 trucks, and we're going to turn that into, that's another grant that's available, and we turn that into get reimbursed. So once that grant comes through, then the city pays about $250. Once we get the CNG station at the department, it's probably going to be about $1.15 to about $1.20. So
Diesel right now at Family Express is $4.19 a gallon.
$4.19.
Just a brief, brief
With that
question.
said, there's more stringent restrictions coming on diesel equipment in, I think, 2026 by the federal government with DEF, that's diesel emission fluid, that has to be burnt with the diesel, and that alone has added thousands of dollars more cost per diesel vehicle. So that's another reason why we're getting away from the diesel.
Question briefly. Do you know if the cost of compressed natural gas fluctuates the way gasoline does? And I apologize if that's a silly question.
No, it's a more stable commodity than your petro and diesel, so it does stable.
Well, it's also more domestic supply than
Yes, it
the
is.
oil we use for gasoline in our vehicles, so.
And I just want to mention, if you're by any of those trucks, the grapple truck was over by my house the other day, and the noise reduction is unbelievable. I mean, some of those diesel are so loud you can't hear yourself talking to another person, but they're incredibly quieter.
They are.
Randy, are they starting to make snowplows that are CNG?
There are a few, the grants aren't as much available because they grade, the way the grant system is, they grade sanitation trucks a lot higher than you would like streets. See, sanitation trucks are driven every day through your city. The plow trucks, 3-4 months, so, but it is available, but it's not graded that high, and the grants aren't available as high as the sanitation route, so,
We're getting there.
yes.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
So Diane from the Parks, do you have a report?
Hello. Before I get started, even though they stepped out, I wanted to officially thank Lieutenant Birch for saving Duncan's life. I did not know Duncan or his wife Sarah before the incident, but since then I've got to know them. He's a miracle man from the story that I was told, and I'm so thankful that they're still around. And my first season overseeing Cal Ripken could have gone totally different, so I'm very thankful that the right person was in the right place at the right time, and that I still get to know Sarah and Duncan and everything. And I've met Chris's dad and wife, and everybody's lovely, so it's a really good group of people. So even though they stepped out, I wanted to officially say thank you.
Diane, on that note,
Yeah.
do we have AEDs at all of our park facilities?
We do, at all the, at Woodland Park, which is a community center, and then all the sports fields. The tricky part is accessibility, which I have talked to other park districts about. If you put them publicly where everybody can reach them, there's vandalism. They're not cheap. They're about $500 each. So we're gonna have to figure out, in my notepad, it says the Duncan plan. So eventually I gotta figure out the Duncan plan, because it was there, but it's locked in a concession stand that was not open because it happened during practice. So there's a lot of factors that go into that. But it's on my radar, as it is in a lot of communities. I know LaPorte has a big foundation from a hospital that got sold or something, and they have it all along park trails and things like that. So, you know, it's in the works to make it more accessible, but we have to figure out that vandalism cost plan. So we just need a big hospital to support us now. So,
Well, the county sold our hospital, and there's about $187 million sitting in that foundation, so.
we gotta get that now. But it is on my radar, so hopefully I can have something soon. We want it more accessible. For personnel, we are just finishing accepting applications for the sports director. We are grateful for the RDC for that, that funding that position, and we're excited to see where the interviews go. Maintenance, with the last storm this past weekend, we did have trees that came down in the trails. We had some on Iron Horse, we had some on Prairie Duneland, and we actually had about 20 that fell on the new trail of the Marquette Greenway. So fortunately, the street department stepped in and really helped us clear up Marquette Greenway so we could kind of concentrate on the Duneland and the Iron Horse. So yes, there's some trees that come down when it's windy, but that was a new trail for us to have to clear, so luckily the street department did step in. We're grateful for them. Over the next couple weeks, staff will continue to do the trail maintenance. We're going to be getting those low-hanging trees and the encroachment onto the trail, so we will be working on those, so it's coming, so if you see it. And we do, I want to do a shout out because Saturday morning we got an email from a resident named Jim, and he was very clear, and he said, you have 4 trees down, 1 east of McCool, 1 east of Luke, and he went on, and I love that because as soon as we can get, the sooner we can get to that spot, the sooner we can start working on it. So we, I appreciate Jim and all the other residents that are very specific of where that tree is down, because that really does help us, and it's better to have more eyes on the trails, so we appreciate it. The new Woodland Park sign purchase has been completed, so that should be coming soon, and we are also working with the town of Chesterton to update that sign that's on the Duneland Trail between the towns. So they're gonna pay for half, we'll pay for half. So that's also coming soon.
Diane, was the Woodland Park sign covered by insurance since it was hit by a vehicle?
Most of it. but that always slows things. So if, I know everyone's like, what's going on with the sign? Insurance takes time and things like that, so. And they're gonna still try to get the parts that aren't covered, but that also takes time. Park programs, we have 4 Fridays left for Market on the Square. It's been very successful, and we had new vendors, and we had new food trucks this year. It was also big for sponsorships. Amy was able to secure 11 banner sponsors, and of those 11 banner sponsors, 5 of them also sponsored the free movie. So that was big for us this year. Those movies do add up. Also, we are gearing up for Bacon Fest. We are super excited to have that back this year. It's going to be Saturday, September 16th from 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. at Founder Square. There are sponsorships also available for this. For more information, you can contact Amy, our events coordinator. Her information is on our website, inportageparks.com, or you can call the park office. Community events. August 12th, we have the Historical Society is having an old-fashioned ice cream social at Countryside Park so that you can visit the museum, which I encourage. It's beautiful, and we have a lot of things from Portage history. And then who doesn't want ice cream sundaes and strawberry shortcake? So ice cream social, it shouldn't be too much, and it's going to support the Historical Society. So I expect to see all of you there, right? Athletics, so our fall leagues are registering right now. We have youth soccer, adult co-ed softball, women's volleyball, all starting up soon. Also, so those are all registering. Also, I wanted to mention that we did partner with the Portage YMCA to do a survey that was posted on our Facebook page. But if you don't have Facebook, you could email us and we can get you the survey. We kind of want to know what the residents need sports-wise. So we've partnered so that we can find out what your needs are and how we can meet them. So that kind of fell under my athletics.
I can guess pickleball is
I'm
very
sure it'll
high
be on the
that
survey,
list.
but. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
You're busy over there, Di. Thanks so much. Barb, do you have anything from the marina?
Got a couple things. Good evening, everybody. As I reported last month, we are still at full capacity with 214 slips filled with boats, jet skis, and dinghies. And we are still moving forward with the grant process. There are 2 steps that remain with the DNR. The first step is endangered species clearance. And that means that our projects do not harm or interfere or negatively impact any endangered species that might be located on the properties where the grant will take place. And the second and last one would be public input. That's the public input portion that we will advertise in the newspaper, and the public will be invited to comment on the facilities that we're planning. I'm going to give you a little explanation of the federal funding available that we're getting for this grant, and it's through the Fish and Wildlife Sport Fish Restoration Program, also known as the WSFR. The grant that we are actively pursuing is made available through sport fish restoration, and the funding comes from excise taxes on fishing equipment, rods, reels, tackle, and boat motors, and motorboat and small engine fuel. I've got a few numbers to date, marina numbers here from January to July 31st. We've sold a total of 80 season passes, and a total of 10 have been donated to disabled veterans. We're kind of proud of that when we get disabled veterans from Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan, and there's been 10 this year. We usually do about 10 or 15 every year, and they're really happy to get that pass because it's good for their mental health. Fishing is great for them. Total daily launches so far this year is 2,666, which is quite a few launches. Keeps us busy. Yeah, the Coast Guard's been out here, out to the marina a couple of times to perform their complimentary safety inspections, and they come out on Saturdays and Sundays, and they're also welcome to schedule inspections with slip holders. We've got a couple of guys that come down and they pass out their cards, and you know, if they're not down like on a Saturday or Sunday, they're willing to come down during the week too. So that's been pretty beneficial for everybody, and it's a nice courtesy safety inspection. Other than that, it's just business as usual at the marina, and that's about all I have to say. Any questions or anything? No? Okay, thank you.
Tracy?
Hello. So for several months, almost half a year, you probably heard me talk about SRF funding. So it did come in. Our clarifier solar screen project came under the pool loan fund, which is still funding, so it's just gonna be a little higher interest rate. It's not as high as if we went out on our own and tried to get it, but, so we're going forward with that. And so we have had several meetings with SRF, with the engineers. It's been a very busy month pulling it all together. Excited about it. We should be taking the clarifier solar and that to bid here possibly next month. And then hoping to close in late November on the loan. So that means early spring we'll start construction with all of this, all of our projects. So it's going to be a very busy place. We've had more rain, which has been really good. It's helped with our monitoring in the meters, in the lines. It helps with the plant, even though, because it's nice to get a lot through and get the pipes flushed out and that kind of stuff, because you get coating of grease and that kind of stuff on top of the pipes. So it's nice to get it flushed through and come to the plant, so we can treat it all. Our DMR, we're still waiting on results. That's the lab testing that we do for the state. We're a certified lab, so they have to make sure that they give us a unknown sample, and our lab technicians run it and give them the results. We've always passed. We believe we'll pass again, but we haven't got the results yet on that. Should probably know something next month. We're doing a little bit of cleanup work and remodeling at the plant, so our lab cabinets, because our lab really, really old, it kind of looked like a circus in there, if anyone's ever seen it. The metal falling apart, it was really bad. The cabinets come in Monday to be installed. So we are very excited about that. I will send pictures once it's done, because I'm really, really happy about it. We had confined space training just a couple weeks ago, included the field forces crew on this. It went really, really well. Alliance Rural Water Association did the training for us. Had a great turnout. Well, it was mandatory, so everyone came. But they learned a lot. They understand a lot better. We will continue that training. We want to do a more in-depth training for the people that are at the lift station individuals, because they are the ones who will encounter this. So we are going to do a more extensive training for them coming up here very soon, so that they understand everything a little bit more and that we keep it fresh in their minds always. Confined space is a very important thing right now. There's been lots of instances recently. There was one just in Georgia not too long ago. Our guys understand how we feel about it, and that it's very important to us, and that we will give them any training that they need or want. Besides that, right now, we were at like 4.5 million gallons coming in the plant. So we're getting more and more, but we're keeping up with it, and the staff does a great job.
And Tracy, our clarifiers are how old?
43 years old now.
And have not been replaced. So this is a
Yes.
huge thing for our sanitary plant.
It's very exciting.
Very, very important as we grow to keep that plant operational. So I'm very excited about that. And the solar aspect, because that's going to save thousands and thousands of dollars.
That's going to be a game changer for us. I'm very excited about that. Like we said before, our NIPSCO bills could be anywhere from $40,000 to sometimes $50,000 a month. So, I mean, I complain when mine goes up and it's $300, but when I open that bill at the plant, I about fall over. I about fall over, so.
Do we know of any other plants using solar that have solar fields?
Not around, like, right around us, no. Commonwealth and them have done some others in other places, but not in the surrounding area. Not in northwest Indiana that I know of.
And I think we're pretty blessed that we have the additional property there. And Tracy said that she has gone out there and they have configured where the array will go, and we won't be cutting any trees down or anything. It's just.
Not a major amount of trees, so
Not a
we're
major
taking the least amount that we can possibly take. We've figured it out so that we're not utilizing property that we might need in the future for possible expansion of digesters or anything like that. We've mapped it all out. We wanted to keep the one section over by the trailer park more open because we could add more UV over there, more filters over there if we needed a second line. So we didn't want to utilize that property. We examined this very closely on several aspects, just to utilize, because, I mean, we have a lot of wildlife out there. We have deer, we have lots of wildlife, and, I mean, we even kind of feed the deer, so they're kind of like our pets. So we're not going to do anything to take up that. But we are utilizing the least amount of trees possible that we can take out, and the area that works the best, because we have to have the sun in the right direction also.
So Tracy, is it going to be powering the plant all the time, or is this?
It's gonna take us off grid about 30% all the time. So that is the plan for it, 30%. And I mean, we can always add more if in the future this is working so great that we can add some more to it. Because where it's going is behind our pad, so if anyone knows from up there, we've got the covered pad also. And what we looked at, if we wanted to add a little bit more, we could even go on top of that covered pad, on the rooftop of it, and cover some solar on that also.
So that's north of the pad then?
So it's like northwest of the pad. It's the building that is covered, where we store the solids
Okay.
after we take it off the pad.
All right, thank you.
So we pull it off the pad, put it in the storage. It's that, right around that, behind that building. So it'll be north. So it's very exciting. I mean, I can send pictures of the plans to everyone. I can email it to all of you if you would like.
That'd be nice.
Because I can send all that, so you can see that.
Great
Yeah, this is
job.
significant. I mean, to be off the grid 30% of the time, and with this new development and this new, ability to power that plant, that's significant. So good job on that, Trace, staying with
Yeah.
that project.
Great
Well,
job.
thank you.
Thinking ahead and bringing us into the future.
Thank you. Like
Well,
I said.
think it just goes to show that Tracy's working on, forward thinking and preparing our plant for the additional businesses and housing that we're getting into the city. We're trying to do this with all departments, of being prepared and looking ahead at what it's going to take to make sure that those departments are staffed as well. So it's a great thing for our sanitary, because I think a lot of people don't think about the sanitary plant and the needs of it, and it's pretty obvious that that's the case, because 43 years of those clarifiers being there, we had one go down last year, and it was kind of nerve-wracking for a little bit, but they do need to be replaced. They're in very bad shape, so.
Yep, it's the department people don't think about until it doesn't work.
It-
And then you have problems.
Exactly, and the other thing, that's true, that's the exact thing. Because we also got to think ahead that most of our staff that could fix this older equipment are getting ready to retire. So they were invaluable to us and still are. So it's picking their brains every day to figure out and making sure everything is getting fixed that we need to get fixed before they also leave. So it's a great teamwork there. The plant, everyone works together to figure everything out. And we are bringing in a lot of younger people as laborers and stuff, and they're very inquisitive. They want to learn. It's very interesting. It's great to see right now.
Exciting things out there.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Tracy, for all you're doing out there. Dan, I believe you have something to bring up this evening?
I just have a couple of quick things, Madam Mayor. Thank you. So one thing that I presented to the council here is, you may recall some time back, maybe the last meeting or the meeting before, I came to you with the memorandums of understanding to address longevity and clarify some issues. That was a memorandum between the city and Operators Local 150, which covers most of the city employees that are unionized. With the exception of the firefighters, what you have in front of you tonight is the same memorandum of understanding, the same terms. It just is between the city and the Portage Firefighters Local 3151. It merely defines the computation of longevity in a couple of areas that have become an area of dispute. So I'm asking, even if by title only, you guys could entertain this memorandum of understanding, much as you did the last one.
Memorandum of Understanding, this is a memorandum of understanding between the International Association of Firefighters, Portage Firefighters Local 3151 AFL-CIO, and the City of Portage, collectively referenced herein as the parties. The parties hereby agree as follows. Let the record reflect this has been read in full. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have motion and a second to adopt. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
And one other thing I wanted to at least bring to the council's attention, or update them anyway, we've had a lot of discussion about the opioid settlement funds, and one thing that the council had indicated they would like to do is to move forward with some funding for the Portage Recovery Association. I've drafted an agreement, I believe, which memorializes the council's request of me, that I will be taking to the Board of Works on Tuesday. I believe it's a 3-year agreement that funds $36,540 per year for 3 years to help PRA with their utilities and rent and those sorts of things. I believe that this organization falls squarely into what the intention of the use of the settlement funds was designed to do. So if I'm still clear on your intention, I will be taking that agreement to the Board of Works on Tuesday. I'll be coming back to you once the Board of Works approves that agreement, requesting the appropriation. That's all I have. Not tonight. If you guys are still on board with that, I'll.
Oh, I think we definitely are.
Yeah,
We'd like to see that
think
before
so.
the Board of Works.
The thing I think that people don't realize, that Portage Recovery's been here, 30 years, helping people who fall into some bad times and helping them out, and they're right here in our community, and they're really, most people don't even know about them, but they came to us, and we value what they're doing for our citizens and the people that they're helping, so we're certainly happy to help you out. Okay, did I miss anyone? Connor. Connor is our head of our youth commission. He's been all over gathering information for us.
Good evening, everybody. Last month, the Portage Youth Commission attended a few meetings, or a few public events. We went to the groundbreaking of the new library park. That was great to see that finally go underway and start getting built. And then we went to the mayor's charity ball too at the end of the month. Saw the great work that people like the Portage Recovery Association getting their money that they deserve. Then at our next meeting next week, we will be electing our new officials. So for chair, going on down to probably a new city council liaison, because I'll be stepping up to go for chair. And that's about all I have, unless you guys got any questions.
No, Do you have any other projects planned, Connor? Because if you don't, I certainly have a few for you.
Well, you do now.
I was about to say, that's actually a good point. I forgot about that. We're trying to look into something to add to the Portage Library Park. I was talking with the Portage County Library chair about that. Looks like that'd be quite expensive, so we'd probably have to get a sponsorship, probably either some restaurant that would let us have a few hours where a chunk of the money would be donated to the Youth Commission. That's our hope, at least.
Connor, that's great, because the library park they're going to start probably next week on it. We're very excited. This is a project we've worked on for over 2 years, and there will be amenities that need to be added. You can go to the public library site and look at the things that you might want to donate to the library or assist in helping us get things for the library garden that will make it even better than what it's going to be. So it's a great asset to the city.
Thank you.
Thanks, Connor. Did I miss anyone? If not, we have no unfinished business. We have new business, Resolution 23-04.
Brian, would you be so kind, sir?
Yep, Resolution 2304, a resolution transferring certain real estate, whereas the City of Portage, Indiana has determined it is not necessary and desires to transfer to the Port Authority of Portage, Indiana pursuant to IC 36-1-11-8, certain tracts of real property located in the City of Portage, Indiana. Let the record reflect that this has been read in its entirety.
I'd like to say just a couple of words if I can. Madam Mayor, give the council a little bit of a history, just briefly, and why we're here. So I am also the attorney for the Port Authority Board here, having come on to that mantle 3.5 years ago. At that time, the marina property, which consisted of a very scattering amount of tracts of land, 22 to be exact, that were in the name of the Little Calumet River Basin Commission, oddly enough, which precluded the ability of the marina to obtain a lot of grants and things that they might be able to be seeking because they didn't own the land. After some great effort and amount of time, I was able to get in touch with the commission. We worked through this deed, which read a whole lot like War and Peace. It was the thickest deed that I've ever dealt with. But in any case, due to their agreement so many years ago, they deeded the property over to the city. At that time, it seemed that it might be best for the marina to leave the property in the city's name only for the sole purpose of perhaps utilizing the city's resources to obtain grants as the owner. Since that time, it's become quite clear that it might be better to have the property in the name of the marina or the port to pursue these grants in their own stead. So I've already brought this resolution to the Port Authority Board and under the Indiana statute for a public entity to transfer real estate to another public entity. It simply requires a duplicate resolution of the two. So the Port Authority Board has adopted the resolution, and as their attorney, I'm asking you to also adopt it. There's no disadvantage to the city that I can think of, and it merely gives a great deal of advantage to the Port Authority.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have motion and a second to adopt. Is there any questions, any discussion?
Thank you for explaining it.
You're welcome.
I know Ferdinand sits on that Port Authority, so he's been involved in this, so, yes, this is a good thing.
It's been a long time coming, very much appreciated by the members of the board. Thank you.
We have motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Evelyn. We have a resolution 2305.
Colin, please.
Resolution number 2305, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, approving certain amendments to the Southport Economic Development Area, whereas the City of Portage Redevelopment Commission previously adopted and amended a declaratory resolution establishing the Southport Economic Development Area and designating certain parcels in the EDA as allocation areas, including the Southport allocation area in the city, and approving an economic development plan related thereto. And whereas on June 22nd, 2023, the Redevelopment Commission approved and adopted Resolution Number 23-2, amending the declaratory resolution to A, designate a portion of the EDA as a new allocation area, a new allocation pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-14-39, to be known as the Southport Allocation Area Number 2, including removing the parcels constituting Southport Allocation Area Number 2 from the existing allocation area as shown in the map, parcel list, and boundary descriptions in Exhibit A and B of the amending resolution. Whereas the Redevelopment Commission submitted the amending resolution to the City of Portage Plan Commission for its approval pursuant to IC 36-7-14-16, and whereas on July 10th, 2023, the Plan Commission issued its order approving the amending resolutions. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana as follows. 1, Common Council hereby approves the amendments as provided in the amending resolution and hereby approves the order of the Plan Commission approving the amending resolution. 2, the resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage by the Common Council as required by law. Let the record reflect this has been read in full. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have motion and a second to adopt. Is there any discussion?
If
Dan, do you
anybody-
want to explain? I'm sorry, Dan.
If anybody has any interest in the fascinating world of TIF financing, Carl Sender is here with us tonight to dazzle us with his knowledge. But if passed tonight, of course, we'll be working our way back to the Redevelopment Commission for the public hearing and stick with our timeline and get this completed by the end of October.
And thank you, Carl, for winding us through this crazy process of doing this, because there's a lot of technical aspects that you've been able to explain to us, so.
It is quite a process. So Carl, just to correct me if I'm wrong, but for those that aren't on the Redevelopment Commission have been following this, we're basically taking out, what is it, 3 parcels, 2 parcels? At least 3. Yeah, that are already in the allocation area, creating a separate allocation area so it is available for TIF financing for a project that is underway on Coca-Cola Drive. So this makes the parcels available for further TIF financing that are separate from our existing allocation area.
And it does kind of speak to exactly what the idea of redevelopment is. It allows the opportunity for incentivizing some development, which is exactly what this is designed to do.
It's vacant land now, and it won't be vacant land much longer.
Are you okay, Carl? You did excellent.
What about me, Carl?
Even better.
But you
Better
do
than
great,
Dan?
Carl.
Wow.
I'm in trouble now.
Carl has trained us well. I've been working with Carl for many, many years on things, and it's kind of a nightmare of paperwork, and it kind of boggles your mind, but he gets us through it, and we understand it when we're done, so. Yes, this is another great thing with having a redevelopment commission and being able to use those funds to develop our city. So that's basically what we're trying to do here. So we have motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Resolution 2306.
Ferdinand, would you please?
Absolutely. Transfer Resolution 2306, an emergency resolution providing for the transfer of appropriations of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana for the 2023 budget, and hereby presented to the Common Council for their action and passage pursuant to IC 6-1.1-18-6, whereas certain extraordinary conditions have developed since the adoption of the existing annual budget for the year 2023, and it is now necessary to transfer appropriations into different categories than was appropriated in the annual budget for the various functions of the several departments to meet the emergencies. Section 1, Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, that the expenses of the city government, the following appropriations are hereby transferred and set apart out of the funds hereinafter named for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same, such sums herein transferred unless otherwise stipulated by law. Section 2, where it has been shown that existing appropriations have unobligated balances which will be available for transferring as follows. ARPA Fund number 2403 from Other Services and Charges number 300 in the sum of $1,450,000 to Personal Services in the sum of $1,450,000. Let it be known that the resolution has been read in its entirety.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Nina, do you want to kind of explain that a little bit to us?
It's to fund any shortfalls in personal service items this year. But the fire contract wasn't budgeted for because it's in the new year, so it'll help cover those costs.
And I just want to make sure I understand. We had put this money and other services and charges in the ARP fund just as a placeholder.
Correct.
Knowing
It would be needed.
that we would need it for personal services, big ticket items, things that are easy to track because they have big.
Right, so our health insurance
Yeah.
is a huge cost, so it's easy to back those out and repost those to that fund to free up the general.
Because the
to be
money
able to
can't
cover costs
leave
in
the
general
ARP fund.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, we have motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We have introduction and adoption of ordinances 22-21.
Salary ordinance, budget year 2023, ordinance 22-21, volume 4. An ordinance establishing the amount of salaries and compensation to be paid to all appointed employees and officers of the city of Portage, of the Porter County, Indiana, for the year 2023. Be it and hereby is ordained by the Common Council of the city of Portage as follows. There are a few changes in the salary ordinance. One, under the police department, there was a scrivener's error, and then we discovered that there was another small little error. So captain should read at $75,784.91. We have added the social worker at $60,000. The salary and benefits to be paid from the opioid funds. You have the firefighter contract that was approved. So we have the senior master firefighter, $67,354.08. Captain, $70,292.04. Lieutenant, $69,171.79. The master firefighter paramedic, 4+ years, $67,354.08. Engineer, $67,354.08. Paramedic, $63,765.11. Why is it on, the master firefighter EMT, 4+ years, $63,268.09. EMT private, $59,114.28. And I think, make sure I got them all. That was done in July. That's it.
Do we need to adjust mechanics, or was that?
That was done last month.
Motion to adopt. Oh, wait, no, motion to suspend.
Second.
Motion and a second to suspend. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Is there any discussion?
I have one quick question. I just want to, so are we going to cover the social worker out of unrestricted or restricted? I think it's restricted, right?
It's up to you. So the agreement that I'm taking to the Board of Works contemplates restricted.
Yeah. I think it should be, I mean, I don't think we would have enough in the unrestricted to cover it anyway.
Not for, I
Not
mean,
for
the
a
first
long
year.
period of time, yeah.
And that's where the.
Right, because we're almost done with the first year.
I went on the county's website to see it, because I know that they had done the same thing, and they did an additional. Yeah.
No, they use restricted.
Yeah, we used restricted.
Yeah.
That's not the agreement they signed. The agreement they signed was unrestricted, but I think that was a change. But they could have done restricted.
Their addition, their notice to taxpayers was unrestricted, so, restricted. So I guess I would just need to know what to advertise.
So we're going to do, depending on the, let's assume the Board of Works okays it. The agreement I'm taking to them is out of restricted funds, that's where there's money there. And I think this meets the restricted requirements. So I would assume if I were you, I mean, it's to advertise it unrestricted.
Okay, we have motion and a second.
I'm sorry, would that be for the PRA also?
So I'm sorry, I was talking about PRA.
We were talking about the social worker.
I'd say both. So the social worker will not be going to the Board of Works, so, because that's not a contract. So I would anticipate both would be restricted.
Now that we're totally confused, we have a motion and a second. Everybody clear on that now?
I believe so.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. At this time, we will entertain petitions, remonstrances, and public input. So if the public would like to speak to the council, you can go up to the podium, state your name and your address. You have approximately 2 minutes.
Madam Mayor and City Council members. My name is Annette Mtg, and I live at 1982 Tanya Street. This letter I've written to help me get through this. I am not opposed to the progress and development of our community in Portage. I am opposed to developments that destroy our urban forests and the tree canopy provided by the presence. There is no doubt the benefits trees provide to both humans and wildlife. The parcel of land I am referencing today is an urban forest south of US 20, crossing Old Porter Road to the railroad tracks. Driftwood Street abuts the west border, and Tanya Candy Street are to the east. There is a proposal to the Plan Commission to develop 81 lots on 34.5 acres of this land. We as neighbors proposed creating a buffer zone. That is a span of natural surroundings at least 15 foot, 30 foot, or more from existing lots on Tanya Candy Street and the new lots of the subdivision. This would allow for a wildlife corridor, preventing fragmentation, and retain some of the natural green space and tree canopy. The proposal presented was to cut trees down 15 feet from our lots into the new lots for a drainage easement. What about putting the drainage easement somewhere else? By doing so, it would allow for a more natural buffer of trees and protect the existing tree roots on our properties. Another consideration would be limiting the number of homes to be developed. This parcel of land is not a field, but a green space with tree canopy and all it provides to the community, neighbors, and wildlife. And a U.S. Highway 20 corridor plan draft, no longer available, by the way, on the portagein.gov website, areas along Route 20 were listed as environmentally sensitive areas. In a map of the area, this designation included the woods that I'm referring to, the commercial areas in front of Candy Street, and other areas along Route 20. It also suggests environmentally sensitive development. Questions arise as to why this draft was discarded. Who was part of this study? Was this a spinoff of the Marquette Greenway plan to develop a system of trails, a plan that encourages trail experiences from large-scale industrial areas to undeveloped natural areas both within and outside of the Indiana Dunes National Lakeshore? If this is a trail experience, as the west side of this property is to have a trail, create a plan that reflects the landscape of the trees, a plan that allows nature to predominate not only along the trail but throughout the development. Neighbors also have concerns about the increase in noise pollution from the removal of our tree barrier. Already clear cutting along Route 20 has increased the noise from 8094, Route 20, and the trains. It alarms me that in the future, as a solution to clear cutting, concrete walls will replace natural tree buffers along 8094. Another concern deals with the loss of wildlife and their habitat. In the Portage Comprehensive Plan of 2009, it states that parks and open spaces were our greatest community asset. In 2009, 19% of the total area within the city of Portage accounted for parks or open spaces, conservation areas, or areas within a buffer. Would that still hold true today? Another part of this document, under Plan Foundation and Guiding Principles, number 9, reads, aim to protect natural areas, critical wildlife habitats, and water resources. As a representative of the Indiana Dunes once stated in a presentation I attended, the Native American tribes, as they made their decisions, thought about how this decision is going to affect 7 generations into the future. I only hope that our city leaders have an understanding heart that is going to balance conservation needs with the development goals for our city, not only now, but into the future. And I thank you for your time. And by the way, my name is Annette Mtg.
Would you spell your last name?
Kulmatyi. And I have a copy of this for all of you.
Annette, have you given that to community development, to A.J. Monroe, and the members of the Plan Commission?
I've adjusted some of this, but
Okay.
this is a refresh. But yes, to that end.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Council, my name is George Graves. I too live at 1982 Tanya Street, and I am Annette's husband. I was kind of curious about this project when I find out that the woods were cut illegally by your rules, not mine, and it was done by somebody appointed by the governor of the state of Indiana to the Porter County TDD. His name is Jason Giuliani. You can Google him, he is on. And we went to a meeting and we asked one of the representatives, who do we contact about stuff in the future being illegally dumped or cut? And he said, well, you contact me. And I said, well, who do I contact about what's been done? And he says, well, I don't want to tell you, but in the future you tell me. So I asked him, well, what about what happened in the past? They filled ditches, leveled ground, and cut trees without a permit. And he said, don't know. So I'm asking you, how do I find out? All I wanted to do is be fair with everybody else. Of course, since he was on the RDD, he should know the rules. So how can we be sure he's going to follow them in the future? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Marsh. I live on Tanya Street. I've been there 45 years, quite a while. When we moved there, the woods behind our house was already a forest. So I'd say that forest is 50 years old. We've looked at that property just out of curiosity from time to time, and it's always been well over $1 million for sale. Last someone told me it was $1.7 million. I'm also told that there was a miracle that the property was sold for maybe $300,000 to the current owners. And they immediately, seems like they immediately sent people in to cut trees down so they could do some surveying. So if you look at Google Earth or Google Maps, you'll see where they've taken some trees down. It's growing with underbrush, but they went crazy with that. We had animals running out of the woods like a forest fire. It was very sad. Anyway, there is this thing that was referred to, Section 66-370, Ordinance 9937, Article 5, Division 3, 10-7699. I don't know what that means. I'm sure Dan does. But there isn't apparently an ordinance. I don't know, want me to read it or just note it? It basically says, reasonable features that would add value to residential development or to local government as a whole, as herein defined, such as trees, watercourses, falls, beaches, historic spots, similar irreplaceable assets, shall be preserved in the design of the subdivision. No tree shall be removed from any subdivision or any change of grade of the land affected until approval of the primary plat has been granted. All reasonable features and trees on the plat required to retain and preserved. The sketch of the plat shall show the number and location of reasonable features and trees as required by these regulations. Shade trees planted by the developer as a requirement of the subdivision approval, the applicant shall plant shade trees on the property of the subdivision. Such trees are to be planted within 5 feet of the right-of-the-way of roads within an abutting subdivision or at the discretion of the Plan Commission within the right-of-way of such roads. 1 tree shall be planted every 40 feet of frontage along the road unless the Plan Commission shall grant a waiver. They will only be granted if there are trees growing along the right-of-way or on the abutting property, which, in the opinion of the Plan Commission, complies with these regulations. New trees shall have a minimum trunk diameter of 12 inches above ground, not less than 2 inches. Only oak, honey locust, hard maples, and ginkgo or other long-lived shade trees are acceptable. I just probably murdered that, but it gives you an idea. They want to maintain the integrity of a forest, which this is, before development is made. Now, this is called the Northwood Trail Subdivision. So it entails part of north of Old Porter Road, part of it is south of Old Porter Road. It's almost all forest. This plan includes 3 roads that will now come into Old Porter Road within about a half a block length. And they'll have to have underground pipes, utilities, and everything. So Old Porter Road will be closed for a considerable amount of time, I'm told, just to do the utility work. And this is critical to the police and the fire department and city, the school buses and everything. This is a critical road. So these people announced their appearance by cutting the woods down massively. And when the foresters were approached by it, they were very rude. And we were told to do it. It's private property. We can do what we want. We were all upset. The whole neighborhood's upset. Driftwood and Tanya Street and Candy Street. We went to a planning commission meeting where we listened to a representative of this group say that the forest was pretty much filled with scrub trees, which are the very trees that this ordinance says we should plant. Oak, honey locust, maples, ginkgo, I don't know what that looks like, but I know we have a lot of honey locusts. We have trees that are 40, 50 feet tall, and it's solid. It's a beautiful forest. There's deer, fox, all kinds of stuff in there. And it's quiet. It makes oxygen. It's relaxing. You can go out there and just, anyway. So this seems like they're making these houses, these lots that they've shown us what they were planning, the absolute minimum size required by law. So they could pack as many as they can into this bargain-priced land they got, cut the trees down, and make a pretty penny. That's how it seems to me. It really rubs me the wrong way. Now, we've been here 40-some years, almost maybe 45 years, And we love the town, you know, we love the way it is. It's kind of rural. We have a lot of stuff going on, and we don't like the way it's going. We especially don't like this. This is really ugly. So they've already violated this ordinance, I guess that's what it's called. I don't know if there's can be some recompense done where they would give us more boundaries around our property, because some of our houses are right, this is in our backyard, literally. And some of what they're talking about is a clearing 15 feet down to grass, dig a pit, put a drain pipe in, and then cover it with grass, and then there's a house, a 2-story house looking in my back window. That's what we're looking at in the future. The people on the, the people on the end of Candy are looking at potentially a business right next to their house. It could be a truck stop, right outside their door. I would like to see, if I was the king, us given either a good chunk of property they can't do anything with, or sell us give us the opportunity to buy some land behind our houses or adjacent to our house for the price they paid per square foot. For what they paid per square foot, I think we would buy enough land to give us a buffer. Anyway, as you can see, we're all upset by this. I don't usually speak to you guys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eric Thompson. I'm at 2059 Center Street. You know, we moved back to Portage a few years ago, so unlike a few of these residents over here, I've only been here for, you know, a few years. One of the big draws to the house that I bought was the woods in my backyard, the wildlife, the red foxes, the deers, possums, raccoons, birds. You learn to live with them, okay? We don't trap them out there. We learn to live with them. We feed them. We see them every day. We enjoy that tranquility in our backyard. A developer who has a questionable character comes in. And I say questionable because he doesn't return phone calls, he doesn't return text messages, doesn't return emails to discuss. He put a sign on Old Porter Road to say to contact him. He sat here, didn't want to answer any questions a few weeks ago. He's not a lifelong Portage resident. You know, in my opinion, he's just there to step on the backs of anyone that adjoins that property, along with the city of Portage, to line his pockets. He was here when the engineer said, well, what's your specs for your siding, your gauge, so we make sure we have a quality house coming up. Well, there are no specs. The guy with that kind of character is going to take that information and put the cheapest material on those houses. They're going to be the smallest square footage, to the point before they're going to be quarter-acre lots at best on top of one another, and it's going to be choice A, choice B, or choice C. All the same houses. And the neighborhoods that adjoin those woods right now are all sorts of different houses. We got tri-levels and bi-levels and ranches and bricks and siding, all sorts of different lot sizes, okay? My question to Portage is how much of that forestry and waterworks do we want to retain within the city? The natural beauty that we do have, okay? There are hundreds of acres of farmland in Portage that are people willing to sell. And that $10,000 an acre, I think that's an overguess. $10,000 an acre is the most they're going to pay for an undeveloped piece of property. So that 34.5 acres, I think that's north and south of Old Porter Road. Let's say it's in the $250,000 to $300,000 range. I would ask Portage, hey, can you buy half of that property and anybody that adjoins that forestry to buy that back as well? Increase our property taxes for the next 10, 20, 30 years and have us be able to offset that cost to keep that quality environment that we have with the forestry that we so all enjoy seeing every day. They had no counter options or offers to contingency plans to talk about the wildlife that they're going to disperse. Again, the developer doesn't care. He's going to come here for 3 years, make his 90 houses, and walk out of here, and he's going to step on the backs of, again, the tenants that adjoin that property and the city of Portage, and he's going to be out of here in 3 years. That's how it's going to work, okay? I would take any kind of suggestions, from what you're hearing tonight from the public, to your heart. Think about it, okay? You don't want tenants, people that own houses in Portage to leave the city of Portage. If I have a house in my backyard now, instead of having woods to look at, wildlife, and I got this old or this newer house built behind me, I'm putting my house up for sale. Again, I understand that is zoned for residential use. I understand that. But that was 60 years ago. In 60 years, because these houses are in the 70s and 80s, nothing's been done. Nothing. So let's keep it like it is. Okay, this wasn't 50 years ago when we were going to knock a street out. So anyways, thank you for taking my, my concerns and voicing our opinions and listening to, what we have to say. I look forward to hearing meetings and discussions down the road, and I will make sure that I'm here to, to listen to any thoughts or suggestions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to the council?
I hadn't planned on speaking tonight, and I probably won't take 2 minutes because my neighbors have pretty much spoken for me as well. My house was also purchased probably about...
Could you please state your name and your address?
I'm sorry. My name is Diana Nolan, Nolen, and I live on Tanya, right in the middle of the street. I'm retired now for the last 7 years. We've had this house since 1979, I think. And that's one of the reasons the house was purchased, was because of the beauty behind it. We do have a fence, and we have a little bit of property beyond the back fence. But I think I'll say what I said at the Planning Commission meeting. The issue that a lot of us have is trust. Based on what Eric said, Ralph said, I mean, we had no clue that this was going to happen when it did. I mean, we just woke up one morning and there are all these deer running and everything else. I've still got them coming. They've come back some because it's been left alone. But now they're jumping my fence, and I don't have a problem with that. It's like Eric said, learn to live with them, I'm going to read you something that a friend of mine sent to me the other day when she found out I'd spoken at the other meeting. Every day, a 40-foot tree takes in 50 gallons of dissolved nutrients from the soil, raises this mixture to its topmost leaves, converts it into 10 pounds of carbohydrates, and releases about 60 cubic feet of pure oxygen into the air. I can tell you that I have trees behind my house that are well over 40 feet. And what everybody else has said, I'll reiterate again. The problem that I have is that's going to be gone. And no one seems to care. So I have an issue of trust. Why weren't we given some kind of advance? And we weren't given any notice until the public hearing. And by then, everything's pretty much cut and dried. It's just going to be a matter of them, you know, having one more meeting maybe, and coming before you, and, you know, the ayes will have it. And we're all done. And I may put my house up for sale too, even though I've been there as long as I have. So I don't know. I'm all for, I would buy more if I could just save it. So I'm sure my 2 minutes are up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Diane. Is there anybody else?
I just will say, I mean, I highly recommend continuing to attend the Plan Commission meetings. That's where these votes will be taken. This won't come to the city council at any point, correct, Dan? I mean, we don't ever handle primary plats, neighborhood design, that's all at the Plan Commission level. So make sure you're attending those meetings for the public, or for the Plan Commission members to hear from you.
So that's correct. I mean, if they're not coming up for a rezone, it doesn't come to this board. And the reason for that is subdivision development standards are promulgated at the Plan Commission level. If they meet those subdivision plan standards, it doesn't come to this council. That is a decision for the Plan Commission to address. And it's ironic that there are prior Plan Commission members that are criticizing, but took no action when they were on the Plan Commission. I find that ironic. But in any case, that's how it works.
Just remind you, the Plan Commission does meet next Monday, August 7th. So, yeah, and I'll be there as well.
And I want to thank you for coming, because even though this body doesn't vote on that, we like to know what our residents have concerns about, because we do know members of the Plan Commission and we can speak to them. So be sure you attend the meetings, get on the list so that you're always appraised of when the meetings are.
And I think, Scott, I think you and I, for sure, Ferdinand, maybe, we didn't know it was going on until the trees came down and residents started speaking either. So we don't want to see the critters displaced either.
I think, Gina, I talked to you, the Plan Commission didn't know about this until it happened either, so.
So are there any other matters not already considered by the council that anyone would like to bring up? Council members? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.